Serving on the east side of Indianapolis, we see crime, we see violence, we see tragedy.
But he's not giving up. After an especially violent and deadly weekend in Indianapolis, we're connecting with groups working to show young people that guns and violence aren't the answer.
I don't want another farmer's family to go through the grief that we're going through.
An Indiana mother has a message to farmers after her 18-year-old son died in a grain bin accident.
And RTV6 working for you. Call 6 Investigates has followed this case for months. Tonight, the punishment for a driveway paving contractor who admitted his guilt.
This is RTV6 News at 5, working for you.
We begin now at 5 with eyes on the radar and a reminder to have your umbrella with you tonight. Rain is here and will be with us well into tomorrow.
At least it's warm enough to keep it rain and not snow. Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is tracking what's ahead for us. Kevin.
And it is light rain at this hour. Certainly rain gauge is not overflowing. You've had 0.14 of an inch of rain in Lafayette, 0.02 in Indianapolis. If you're driving north, at least in the short term, you get up towards South Bend, there's some snow. But I'll show you what happens. Warmer air is going to continue to lift into central Indiana through the evening hours. The rain will expand. It's 54 in Bedford right now, 51 in Bloomington, temperatures in the low 50s in Columbus, while to the north, temporarily, you're above freezing, but it's much cooler, 36 in Kokomo, 39 in Frankfort. Probability of rain still at 11 o'clock tonight, 70%. The rain chance drops, though, tomorrow morning to 20%. Our temperatures will rise through the night, and our mildest temperatures first thing in the morning. 7 o'clock, there's the rain. It starts to sag a little more to the south and east by 11, and then starts to push into the southeastern portion of the state at 7 a.m. We'll talk about those falling temperatures tomorrow and what is kind of on the horizon here for Wednesday through Friday coming up.
We'll see you soon, Kevin. Thank you. A violent and deadly weekend in Indianapolis once again has people asking what can be done to stop the violence. Here's a snapshot of where things stand in Indianapolis as of today, February 17th. 10 people were shot Saturday and Sunday. 4 of them killed, 6 injured. As of today, we're averaging 1 homicide a day since February 1st. There's a total of 33 homicides since January 1st. That's more than double this time last year. The first deadly shooting of the weekend took place Saturday morning around 11. A 28-year-old man shot another man critically injured on the 3800 block of North Emerson on the northeast side. Later that evening, around 7:30, a 34-year-old man was shot and killed on the 200 block of 4th Street on the east side. Then Sunday evening, around 6 o'clock, a 33-year-old man was shot and killed on the 5600 block of East 36th Street. And last night, on 3900 block of Hillside Avenue, near 38th and Keystone on the north side, a man was found shot in the street. Police have not announced arrests in any of these cases. As Metro Police detectives collect evidence and interview potential witnesses to solve these cases, RTV6 is learning about organizations working to push back against violence. They're working to address some of the root causes of violent crime. RTV6's Troy Washington explains how the people behind these organizations are working to make a difference, hoping to save lives.
33 homicides so far in 2020. 4 killed this past weekend. RTV6 is digging deep to figure out what's driving violence in communities. But not just the driving force behind the bullets flying. What's driving those determined to turn the crime issue around?
My best friend was murdered when I was 18 years old. We had just graduated high school over at Arlington High School around the corner, and we were excited, and he was killed. And so that changed my whole life.
For Pastor Kenneth Sullivan Jr., his first taste of stepping into the real world wasn't sweet. It was a grim reminder life isn't promised.
I've had the unfortunate task of burying multiple, almost too many to number, young men and young women, some as early as 12 or 13 years old, homicides.
As a pastor of New Direction Church, he meets families during not just their highs, but also the lowest of low moments.
Here, serving on the east side of Indianapolis, we see crime, we see violence, we see tragedy.
This weekend, the violence made it pretty close to his doorstep.
As I was studying, preparing on Saturday and leaving the church, I was headed to the cleaners, and I noticed that on about 39th and Emerson, there had been a homicide that took place.
The pastor says seeing the crime scene tape, the police cars, and realizing murder impacts more than just the deceased reminded him why he started SAVES in the first place. A program designed to banish poverty and create opportunities in struggling neighborhoods.
So that young men and young women would not even have a desire to do some of what they see in the streets, because we're exposing them to a whole new world of opportunity for their careers, for their future.
For 27 years, Dr. Wallace McLaughlin has led Fathers and Family Center with a similar outlook.
We are not the only solution, but I can stand foot to foot, toe to toe with anyone to say that we have certainly been a part of the solution because we have turned the lives around of thousands of men and women, giving them a sense of hope.
And both men agree giving hope is the key to saving our city. Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
Well, ahead in our next hour at 6, we take a closer look at how some of these programs are helping people get a college degree and a home, changing lives for the better.
RTV6 is working for you with news of a resolution in a case we have been following for months. A Greenwood driveway paving contractor accused of taking money and not finishing the job says he's guilty and now will serve time behind bars. Call 6 Investigates' Kara Kenny first raised questions about Awesome Asphalt back in 2018. She joins us now with today's developments. Kara.
Thank you, Amanda. As part of a plea agreement, Santino Gilk pleaded guilty to corrupt business influence and home improvement fraud. This all started back in 2017 when Megan and Mike Swergel reached out to Call 6 Investigates, saying they hired Awesome Asphalt to do their driveway in Morgan County. They say Gilk and his business partner, Natalie Davis, took their $7,500 and never finished the job. On Thursday, a judge sentenced Gilk to 4 years behind bars, but most of it is suspended. That means Gilk will likely serve about 3 months in jail as well as a year of probation. However, if he gets in any trouble during that time, the judge could send him to prison for the full length of his sentence. We caught up with Gilk last year, and he made some bizarre comments to our cameras.
Charges against you? Contact order on you, ma'am. You're committing a felony right now. Don't you respect the law at all?
I never received any paperwork.
Well, I have. Do you want me to go get it and show you?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Would you like to come to my house and show you no contact order, and I'll call the police there, and they'll be waiting to arrest you?
Of course, none of that was true. Gilk's business partner, Natalie Davis, has been behind bars since her sentencing in October, and she should be out of state prison later this month. Davis paid back the Swergels the $7,500. Gilk's attorney, Brad Banks, declined to comment on the guilty plea and the sentence. The victims say they just want the couple to stop driveway paving operations in central Indiana. Mark.
Our Kara Kenny, thank you for that. Lebanon police now are investigating an early morning armed robbery at a Speedway station. These are pictures of the two suspects. That crime happened just after 3:15 this morning at the station on the 1300 block of Lebanon Street. The attendant said one suspect was wearing a ski mask, the other a hooded sweatshirt. One of the suspects put a gun to the attendant's head and demanded the contents of the cash register. They got away with money and some merchandise. No one was hurt. If you know who these people are, you're asked to call 911 or the Boone County Communications Center at 765-482-1412 and select option 8.
An uninvited visitor and lots of damage. That's what's left behind at a Lawrence home after a truck slammed into it today. Around noon, an off-duty IMPD officer saw a male driver veer off the road and hit a house near German Church Road and 56th Street. The officer saw the driver back out of the house and take off. The officer followed the driver to a hotel on Pendleton Pike where the driver was arrested. No injuries were reported.
An Indiana mother is on a mission to raise awareness about grain bin safety. Anita Howard lost her 18-year-old son to a grain bin accident in November. RTV6's Megan Sanctorum spoke with her about her efforts today and also found out what one local fire department is doing to help keep farmers safe.
It's a message from a grieving mother.
My mission is to save one life.
18-year-old Colton Howard died in a grain bin accident near Terre, Haute. Now, 3 months later, his mom is sharing their story, hoping to prevent another family from a tragedy like this. Howard recorded this video discussing the dangers of grain bins. She posted it on Facebook Sunday. It already has about 5,000 shares. She's hoping it reminds farmers to use caution and have a rescue plan in place.
Just getting the message out, it will be on someone's mind when they're in that bin and they recognize a problem. You know, I want them to think back to this handsome young man who was just 18 years old and a split decision claimed his life and is gone forever.
First responders here locally shared Howard's story. Grain bin safety and rescues are something Bargersville firefighters have been working on for years. They have a training facility in town and various pieces of equipment for grain bin rescues. It's equipment and training they hope to never have to use, but something they know is so important to their community.
There's not a person on this department that doesn't understand the hazards of grain bins and has the general knowledge of where to start when a rescue is needed to be made.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
She hopes to take her message to a larger group of young farmers. Tonight at 6, we will tell you how she hopes to accomplish that.
Still ahead at 5:30 on RTV6, teachers in red making their voices heard once again at the State House. The issues they say are too important to just let go.
But first, here at 5 o'clock, if you're headed to Disney World this summer, you may notice some changes to Cinderella's castle. The makeover announced today.
Temperature trend gets colder later in the week, not in the short term, though. We'll get into that, and perhaps you missed it. If you did, something unique was flying over today. I'll share that with you coming up.
Down on the farm.
Now to Democracy 2020 and the race for president, and all eyes are on Nevada in this weekend's caucus. But early voting is already underway, and voters are taking advantage of the opportunity. ABC's Mona Kosar Abdi reports.
With early voting underway in Nevada, the Democratic presidential candidates are making a big push to win over residents ahead of this closely watched caucus. Pete Buttigieg riding a wave of momentum from his strong showings in Iowa and New Hampshire, taking a swipe at President Trump in front of a crowd of veterans in Reno.
One of the benefits of having served is that you've seen worse forms of incoming than tweets full of typos.
Earlier in the day, the former mayor releasing a new ad sending a nod to Latino voters who make up a third of the population. Senators Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren also running Spanish ads in Nevada markets. Joe Biden counting on a comeback in the state, stressing that a vast majority of the population from diverse backgrounds haven't weighed in on the competition.
Nevada's not been heard from yet. Nor is South Carolina, nor are the Super Tuesday states.
But as the candidates make their appeal to voters, they're also shifting their focus onto former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Bloomberg is not even on the ballot in Nevada, but the businessman has spent an unprecedented $381 million on ads so far.
I never thought I was going to be able to compete with some of my opponent's bank accounts.
Bloomberg is currently polling at third place in the national polls behind frontrunners Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden. And in his latest digital ad, Bloomberg targets Sanders by showing aggressive and sometimes threatening tweets supposedly from Sanders supporters. Sanders firing back.
We will not create the energy and excitement we need to defeat Donald Trump if that candidate pursued racist policies like stop and frisk.
And Nevada is the first and only caucus state to hold 4 days of in-person early voting for those unable to do so on Saturday. On day one, 56% of early voters were first-time caucus goers. Mona Kosar Abdi, ABC News, Washington.
Well, you don't have to wait until May for some exciting events at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The IMS Museum has unveiled its Spring Distinguished Speaker Series. The lineup here on March 4th, drivers Ed Carpenter and Connor Daly. Then on April 1st, Robert Wickens with special guest moderator IMS President Doug Bowles. And on May 20th, three-time Indy 500 champ Johnny Rutherford. Tickets for each event are $60 for museum members and $75 for non-members. Seating is limited and may sell out. Tickets must be purchased in advance.
The award-winning country music group Rascal Flatts is kicking off its farewell tour right here in central Indiana in June. Individual tickets that are not part of the previously announced mega ticket go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. Rascal Flatts Farewell Life is a Highway tour is coming to Ruoff Music Center on Thursday, June 11th.
And you can go sailing down to Brown County to catch Christopher Cross in concert at the new Brown County Music Center in Nashville. Tickets go on sale Friday at 10 for the Thursday, April 30th 30th concert, part of his 40th anniversary tour, by the way. Cross's career has spanned over 5 decades and has included hits like Sailing and Ride Like the Wind.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to ride like the wind to get down there. And then here's another one. Once you go to the concert, you'll never be the same. So I think I saw Christopher Cross in the 70s, maybe late 70s.
Time to do it again.
At the Downtown Tennis Center when they used to have music there. So I think I ended up in the Marion County lockup after that. I got wild. So, okay, let's show you this. If you missed it, look up the next few days. And this is what they sound like, so you can't often hear. They have the most unique sound. So at first, and then these are sandhill cranes, they fly higher, so it takes you a minute to kind of, once you see or hear them, to actually find them.
Yeah.
So Terry Tessmer worked hard to get that video. I appreciate it. And over the next few days, you may also hear that sound and look up and see those fly over. Well, we've got rain, Terre, Haute to Indy. It's a very light rain. As you go to the north and west, picks up in intensity a little bit. And I think the axis of the rain will drop to the south as we go through the night. This rain is just a few hundredths so far in Terre Haute, also in Indianapolis. It's been a little heavier in Lafayette. And as I mentioned, once you get north of Peru, there's been some snow with this, and that's showing up now in South Bend. But that will be pushed out of the state as we go through the night because the warmer air will continue to move in from the south. Temperatures right now, 54 in Bedford, 53 in Bloomington, 36 in Peru. This will continue its march to the north, steady, slow progress, bringing warmer temperatures to all of central Indiana. Say hello to Harley. Harley is a beauty, isn't he?
Yeah,
I love all those colors.
Handsome.
And his 2 colored eyes.
He is staring right at us, isn't he? He's got his tags on there, ready to go for a walk. That's not easy. Once you walk Harley in the rain, you got to brush through all that hair. The showers are with us through the evening hours. They may pick up in intensity a little bit as we go from 11 o'clock into the early morning hours. But notice the push where the showers sitting out of the north and west. They'll be south and east of the metro area as we get to the morning hours tomorrow. Tuesday planner temperatures will be warmest in the morning, then slowly falling through the day. You'll wake up with temperatures probably upper 40s, but get ready for temperatures that will be much cooler as we go late in the day Tuesday, then Wednesday, no doubt, much colder. But with sunshine, that always helps. Anytime you have sunshine and cooler temperatures, we can deal with that. Wednesday, just show you this. We usually use TrueCast for location and timing of rain or snow. In this case, I just wanted to show you that we've got more sunshine on the way. There are your Wednesday temperatures. They're below average for this time of year. As we look toward the weekend, I'd say Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even Saturday will be dry. Next chance of rain after this system moves out will come Saturday night and Sunday into Monday. Temperatures, as you can see, do warm up again Saturday, Sunday, and Monday into the 40s. I'm going to go listen for sandhill cranes.
You got it. And the way you did it was played them.
Well, so what I had to do is get the sound off the internet.
Yes.
And then do that. I'm crafty.
I'm crafty, right?
Okay.
Exactly. Thanks, Kevin.
Well, Cinderella's castle at Disney World is about to get even more magical, according to a Disney blog post. The picture on the left is how the castle looks today. The one on the right is a concept of what the finished project may look like. It shows dark blue turrets and lots of gold accents. The work will get underway in the coming weeks and continue through the summer. It's good timing, too, because the Cinderella movies marked the 70th anniversary of its box office debut over the weekend.
She's still got a pretty home.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, a little jealous there. It's a rather bold statement, calling yourself God. We now know the outcome of one man's fight to put it on his license plate.
2020 Altima.
Hello to you. I'm Julie Grant with Court TV, and court is in session in Tampa, Florida on this President's Day, where a former ice cream truck driver is accused of shooting 6 people. Defendant Michael Keatley is accused of killing 2 men and injuring 4 others in a revenge-fueled shooting back in 2010. Shooting survivor Gonzalo Guevara told the jury Friday that Keatley is the shooter. But Keatley's defense team argues it's a case of mistaken eyewitness identification. Today, the defense grilled Detective Jose Lugo on his handling of the photo array that led to the crucial ID of the defendant. No murder weapon was ever found in this case, and there is a question as to whether Keatley would have been able to fire a gun. He was shot and injured when his ice cream truck was robbed shortly before the incident. Keatley was on a quest for revenge, according to prosecutors, after that robbery. We'll keep you posted on that case. And court is dark in New York City today, but we have our crews there ready for a verdict watch in the Harvey Weinstein case. The disgraced movie producer is facing 6 felony charges. If convicted, he could be sentenced to life in prison. Stay with Court TV for gavel-to-gavel coverage of these cases and all of America's most compelling criminal trials. I'm Julie Grant. Now back to you in the studio.
And you can learn more about other cases around the nation right now at courttv.com. A Kentucky man has won the right to call himself God on his license plate.
But that's not his only victory. There's a financial one, too. Ben Hart says when he lived in Ohio, he drove around with a vanity plate that read, "I am God," for more than a decade. When he moved to Kentucky and applied in 2016 for the same plate, he was denied under a regulation that limits messages that are deemed obscene, vulgar, or in bad taste. Well, his case went to court, and it was ruled the state violated the First Amendment. Hart got his license plate in November, and the state also has to pay his attorney fees. By the way, Hart identifies as an atheist.
All new at 6 on RTV6, she found a void for broken hearts in her city. One Indiana woman is building a network of support for grieving parents of gun violence victims.
But first, on the Now Indy, warehouse stores or something else? Where do you get the better bargains? We're diving into that so you don't waste your money. You're watching RTV6.